As you judge, you too will be judged. You could have given me the things I needed to restore the divine order, to bring people to God. You chose to gamble like casting lots for Jesus' fucking cloak. We don't care about the Spirit of God. Let's gamble for his cloak. You will have my cloak, and then you will have my sword. The Son of God, the Son of Man. The first lesson and the reaper. The protector of the vine and the guardian. The vine is gone. The game of death. Bruce Lee was one of the bad guys playing the good guy. Kareem was more like the good guy, but he was also a bad guy in a Hollywood-related group. Saturn. Rewards and the points. Saturn. It is always the sun's turn. It is never the traitor's turn. It is never Judas's turn. The Muslims had it wrong. Judas replaced Jesus on the cross. No. Judas had no part of the sun's turn. Ray wards, right? Ray wards off the spirit. Like, shoo, fly, don't bother me. Shoo, fly? Like the Egyptian shoe. Like Chuku Ameka. Shuku Ameka. You wish to see Makkah and not Ra first and foremost. I am not a demon, but you will see demons. I will be there at the moment of your death, in one form or another, and you will pay for defying God and playing stupid in the shallow end of the river. The tree of life is a log in the desert at this point. The black and white, yin-yang, checkered floor is in everything. You must return to the spirit of the sun to figure out things, right? There's lies and truth. Everything's half-truths and bullshits, in this concrete jungle. All religions, they're all paths that you go to hell. George Bush is like, all religions are paths. Yeah, path to hell. Checkered floors leading to hell because you think you can be a half-assed demagogue bitch. And we'll get to that. There is no stop being the sun and being a flying rock. Did you tell God, stop being God and we'll work with you. We'll allow you to be a fucking slave to us if you stop being God. Would you say it to Jesus? Would you say it to me? What you say to me, you say to God. He who sees the Son sees the Father. Jesus is the King of Kings, meaning he's the Pharaoh, and he's the most anointed Pharaoh. He is the King of Pharaohs. He is the Pharaoh of Pharaohs, and the Pharaoh is the King of Kings. And all kings are divinely ordained if they are. If not, they are imposters, con men, con artists. They are beneath the least of you. Relative, relation, and the sun. The strongest and spiritual instinct I have was to reproduce. And I spent far more time intensely and wisely seeking a spiritual, suitable helper because of cults, feminists, eugenicists, and everyone else. I could not. So why was it so important to me relative to everyone else? Everyone else is like, I want love, I want sex, but no, you have nowhere near my passion. You have nowhere near my spirit. You have nowhere near my desire to reproduce. It is a spiritual survival instinct that the Pharaoh plants his seed so that the divine order is upheld and humanity continue to live. Order 66 pertains to the idea of the 3 as the E, the 30, right? 1, 2, 3, 3 degrees of masonry, 360 degrees of the sun. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 is the cycle, and there's a lot of numerology and little stuff like that that you can add up. Patterns of nature, whatever you want to call it. Okay? 30. 66 times 30 is 1980. Jesus was conceived. Mary was impregnated in 1 BC, right? December. This is the idea. Sept means seven, but it also is the 9 in the Gregorian calendar. So it's hard to really analyze this thing to a T. To make a long story short, my mother was impregnated in 1980, and I am the 66th pharaoh. Order 66 is to kill the 66th pharaoh, and to also, it seems, to make him aware of who he is. So he tries to connect with the Spirit of God, quote unquote, in vain, right? In vain. And the resulting effect is darkness is brought in a very profoundly wicked manner. So here are the proofs. Eri. If you do not connect Eri to the Pharaoh, to the light temple, to Jacob Eri, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're a fucking moron. That's why they're called Aryans. They seek to replace them. The Vandals were Germanic people that came into North Africa and vandalized things like Napoleon and everyone else. They kept vandalizing a little bit more. As they understood it, they vandalized it more and more, from what I gather. And that helped them cover up the truth and be the bowl that covers the light, the Ba of El, the Canaanite god, the storm god, Set, Apep, my Napep, Set, Min, Apep, Set. All right, Eri, love and God. God is the God of love. So my desire for love was greater, and if you were to observe my behavior in life, you would see that. The Spirit and the Son. The Spirit of God through a masculine light temple, spirit warrior energy, right? Artist, artificer. A dwarf is an artificer as well. He is a small man. He deals in illusion. And there's a lot of people from different races that fit the description. Okay, small man, deals in illusion, and he makes things seem smaller. That's part of his artwork, right? He builds something up. The Tower of Babel, for example, makes the pyramid seem smaller, or whatever. There's different parallels you can draw. Okay, so he has the genes of the small trickster in him. Little Pan, right? Little Pan, little trickster, little joker, little Punchinello. Okay. He might breed in a way that makes him taller. And he might use drugs to make his dick bigger, to make him more athletic. He might use technology. In fact, he will use drugs and technology. We'll get into that. Okay? To make him seem like the ideal martial artist, trickster, art, trickery, con artist, right? Con man, con fu, con whore. Okay? And he's part of the whore that rides the beast, so he has the spirit of the whore as well. When whore means face and so on, the good spell, the bad spell. I'm sure you get it. Okay? So you're going to see this. Africans are the tallest race in more than one way, and our coordination gives away that we come from a long line of people who were taller than the other people. The Most High, the higher man. God created man in his image in Africa. He gave man dominion of the earth, and the most righteous higher man was the main man, right? The lion's mane, the main lion, the leopard, okay? The king of nature, not just the jungle, okay? Of course, what is Guns N' Roses, right? Welcome to the jungle, right? Red, the color of evil. And you'll see red time and time again. The king's wearing red, the red carpet, and so on. All right, so Ra generation. I've gone over that many times. Healing nature and spirit, son of 2 doctors. My dad is much more intelligent than Ben Carson, and he had much more obstacles, stickles, okay? Obstacles to overcome, obverse, adversity, adverse, okay? Reverse, raverse, okay? Shyness as a result of blessing, okay? So I was shy growing up, as you would expect, as a result of blessings and people's jealousy and so on. I have pictures of me with my back turned to the camera when I'm younger and so on. The ugly duckling effect, the ugly hawk, ugly duckling. Okay, they call them mud ducks, right? Black people are mud ducks, right? Enemies see it my way and went out of their way to block the light. That is obvious. The birth, the 30 times 66, 1980. Order 66, the Millennium Falcon. I went over how a falcon is a hawk that is trained. The full Khan, fall for the Khan Hor, Temple of Edfu, by the Greco-Romans, right? Edfu, Adfu, Khan Hor, Temple of Horus, Nekin, right? Know the kin versus no kin. There's no kin. Now you're going to have to go for the Khan. Now that we've covered up the kin, there's no kin in sight. They're gone. Of course, it goes back to the eye of Ra, and there's a lot of parallels. The eye is the window to the soul, and so on. And they've broken your window, and they're sneaking in like a thief in the night. Nigerian Civil War, the ritual sacrifice of millions of innocent Christians starving to death, fasting, right? Heart of Africa Center, Obi, Oba, Igbo, the wordplay, very obvious. The belt system, Orion's belt, is where they said the pyramids line up. That's not what it's about. It's about the sun. Martial, to put things in order. Light speed, wordplay in society, linking martial war and reproduction. Heart, videos as my instinct. Birth, date, day, Narmer palette, priceless proof. God's plan, reverse, ease, revere, reverse, ease, revere. Templar family, Scottish Rite, interfering, funding mind control. Man cannot see us as one. House and room, a metaphor, right? If God gave you a house and someone goes into the room before you do, some kids who are in your extended family go into a room before who you give your heir, who's the heir to your, who's willed, your will, God's will, your last will and testament, the testaments, do they get the room, or does your heir get the house? We are one race. The Pharaoh runs the planet. He's meant to have the whole pie. And of course, pie is like someone thinking with their belly in terms of something that is a circle, right? How do we slice the pie? How do we slice the sun's thing, right? Pirate, the rate of the pie. We're going to slice the pie and give it to these people at this rate and so on, right? Pirate. Okay. Spiritual plans, martial ways. Okay. Spiritual paths, right? Martial ways. The sun's orbit, the hawk, the seat of intelligence, the sun, the center, right? I explained how Shu, fly, don't bother me, the atmosphere, the heavens, the sky god. The heart is then on the left. As he lays down, his heart is to the left. The heart of the material world, the woman kind of is the mother earth, right, is on the right. Okay, so the divine order is from the heavens down, not from the earth up. That's disgusting. All right. So, and I see my last video about how you have to have this martial art, masculine spirit to man up and to be the hero and the leader and so on. Okay, Jack Obi for planet, right? The Pharaoh, who submitted to God's order? I'm the only one who submitted to God's order. So altogether, the entire world was incapable of coming to the conclusions together in different groups. As they have sliced it especially, they are incapable of falling in line to God's order. They are unworthy. They've proven themselves, even without everything else I've said that they're unworthy to split up the pie, and they're not supposed to anyway. Okay, so here first, what culture and why, evolution and what habitat versus persecution, baby lion, Apep, baby Ra, Babylon, right? The sun rises, in the east. If you're looking at it from Egypt, it's kind of like, what is that little thing that the sun is emerging from? Ra means sun. It's Babylon. It is Apep. Some say he's a primitive version of Ra, and that is why. I'm almost out of time. So, awareness, destiny, and reproductive cycles, failed attempts to perceive hope, misunderstood hope. Pan. That's why hope was in Pandora's box. Theater, remove the T and the H. Eater, anointed, seasoned, right? Seasoned to be eaten, alive. Your spirit, your flesh. Moral, the story. Cause and effect, balance to the force, Saturn, right? Kronos, he eats his children to survive, right? He eats God's children so that his evil spirit can survive. There's many parallels you can draw. Antichrist, passing himself off subtly and otherwise as a pharaoh, a living God, a king. He'll use drugs and technology. Messiah, Isa, ease, sea, right? The multitudes, the seas of people. So he's going to use technology and drugs to pretend he's me. Demi-Moore, demigod, Jewish Aryan type, probably, like the Queen of England or something. She'll be, her family's a good example of what it could be. Israel, Isis and El, satanic sex ball, Ray, Ra. He'll be, okay, it is Isis, Ray, and El. Israel, okay? they're not going to include Haru, which is really who's supposed to be in the order.